Every alchemical transformation follows 4 stages: initiation, shadow, cleansing, and gold. Choose your doorway, alchemist, and let the great work begin. Doorway 1. Doorway 2. Doorway 3. Now let's begin the great work. Hello, and welcome to your initiation through doorway number 1. You chose find a place to withdraw to. This tells me that you're feeling very much overwhelmed and you're ready to find a soft, peaceful place to land for a while. And that is what the mirror is reflecting. In alchemy, that first spark is the initiation. It is the thing that reflects what is happening. And right now, you really need to find a place where you feel a lot of peace. Maybe you've been overwhelmed in your life, and it's time to find that peace that you so long for. Now let's see what is descending into shadow. So this is what's hiding. You feel like there are just too many things to balance. You can't quite get a hold of it, and it feels, almost like it's out to get you. Don't gamble with your time. Don't gamble with your energy, because in a production-based culture, we often feel like that productivity, like that produces money, is the only thing that is actually beneficial. But really the true things that matter are time and relationships and things like that. Now, money is a necessary thing because of the design of our culture. But remember, don't let a productivity wound inside you stop you from finding the peace that you really are looking for and that you deserve. The devil's in the details. And now we're going to cleanse the mirror. So this card will help us understand what we can distill down and use to clarify so that we can transform our lead into gold. Manifest. Okay. Now, see her, she's kind of walking off into the woods. We're getting a lot of themes here of like fall. That's the season of, interestingly enough, we always think of spring as the season of renewal, but fall is the season of contemplation that must take place in order for renewal to occur. So the mirror says that you need to find some rest time for yourself, some peaceful time for yourself. Maybe things have been overwhelming, especially right now. It's the holiday season. And on top of that, in your shadow, you need to be careful about gambling with your resources, be that money, time, energy, because especially this time of year, we're very tempted, right, to overtax ourselves with that kind of thing. And in order to make this come into light for you, you need to focus on your manifesting. And there are so many ways to do that. There's practical steps. You have to take your practical steps towards any manifestation you want. But here, there's such a peaceful feeling to this manifest card. I would say that you are really feeling like you want to take it slow. Like you're not about like, let me get it tomorrow. There's a very relaxed flow to this. The only urgency felt is sort of this gamble that you're feeling. We'll start with those 3. Now we're going to see how you can use this manifestation to bring this vision of peace to life for you. We have the Ten of Swords. Yeah, this is really matching this energy, sort of a, I'm done, I'm worn out, I can't really take any more of what's going on, and I really need my manifestations to happen sooner. But I think earlier when the manifestation was saying that it's happening slowly, or you feel like, I think it has to do with like, you might be scared to move it faster, because a lot of times we hold ourselves back inwardly because we want something, but we're really scared that maybe if we get it, we're not good enough for it, or we won't be able to handle it. And so we slow down our own manifestations. And so maybe reflect and see if that's something you've been doing. What are you holding on to that's keeping you pinned down in the situation you're in right now? Look at the situation clearly and with discernment, and I think you'll see that your ability to rise above this kind of situation where you're feeling like stuff is happening very slowly, or you feel very entangled or enmeshed in situations that aren't serving you, you can cut through that. You'll find out that you'll be able to see the situation more clearly when you get back. And especially with this, find a place to withdraw to. It's saying you need to walk away and you need to take some time to yourself, because when you're enmeshed in the situation, it's really hard to see clearly what is really going for you and you should hold on to, and what you should let go of. So with this King of Swords energy, you need to cut through that. You need to see it clearly. And the way that you're going to do that is to find a place to withdraw to. Yes. So this is going to bring the potential for new emotional balance, new opportunities for your emotional growth. You're feeling stagnant in so many ways because of the situation. Maybe your friendships and things like that have been neglected because you're too busy with, getting day-to-day things done. Or maybe, you have a very special relationship that's just become the doldrums because, it's the same every single day. Remember, it's not giving up to take space to figure out what you really want and who you really are. And taking space can be physically, it can be emotionally. Like, you don't have to, just throw away whatever situation you're in. In fact, like I said, you have this feeling of wanting to take it slow because you're scared of what the consequences might be. That's okay. Take it slow. Remember that opportunity is there and it will be presented. And once you get clarity, you'll get to decide whether you want to take it or not. Yeah, on the other side is more lightheartedness, more play, more emotional freedom, to feel kind of more emotionally stable and just kind of having a little bit more fun instead of everything being so serious. Now, I think this being with manifest, when I was saying walking away slowly, it really says that, you're getting such heavy cups energy. So this is a very emotionally loaded time for you, especially with that Ten of Swords there. So you see the possibilities. You're scared of what, if you change the situation, you're scared that you won't be able to choose, or that maybe you'll lose the opportunity to have a situation as good as the one you're in now. It's really easy to see only the good things in your situation, even when it's hard, or be scared that you won't find something of equal or greater value if you disentangle yourself from this. But remember, you don't have to make a commitment right now. All you need to do is take some time away so you can clear your head, clear your emotions, and kind of see things more clearly. Yes, this is definitely saying you have a future you want to manifest, and it is not aligning with what the physical world is doing right now. And in order to make that happen, you need to take some time away, reevaluate your feelings, reevaluate your situation. And when you come back, you're going to come back with more lightness and more peace. Yeah, you're going to be moving away from heartbreak. And remember, heartbreak doesn't necessarily mean love, but that's sort of the energy, that the feeling worn down, feeling like you don't have anything left, that will be healed if you just take the time to step away. There's a lot of swords, a lot of emotional energy, and a lot of mind energy in this reading. So what I'm feeling for you is that you're ready for a change, but it's been very hard because you're so connected to this situation. But take it slowly and take some time. And then I feel like, yeah, there you go. Take it slowly and take some time and work through it a little bit. You do not have to say it's either this or this. You can say, okay, I'm going to take one little step, trial and error to see if I can handle staying in this situation, or if I can handle leaving it, or something in between that I didn't even think of. Well, I hope that this helped you today. Please leave comments below about your situation, and I will see you next time. Your great work continues, alchemists. May this guide you with grace and purpose. Hello, Doorway 2. Welcome to your initiation. In alchemy, we begin with initiation, which is the mirror, the first spark. It tells us what is unfolding in your life. Then we will move on to the shadow, which will tell us what is breaking down, what's dissolving, what is hiding. Then we distill that knowledge down and we turn our lead into gold. So let's see what you got going for you today. All right, alchemist. We start today with fleeting beauty. I feel like that you feel like time is kind of racing by, and maybe you're not getting out of life what you were hoping you were going to get, and that you feel like maybe it's slipping through your fingers. So in the mirror today, we see somebody who has a great appreciation for beauty, has a great appreciation for grace, but maybe feels like they don't have time to really indulge that appreciation. Or sometimes you wish to indulge that, but you almost get too scared of committing the time to it and then being disappointed afterwards. Sort of like when you go on vacation and then you get home, sometimes it's such a jarring experience that you almost wish you didn't go on vacation at all, right? Because you're like, oh, now I've got to face this. This is what your shadow is trying to tell you right now, what you need to break down and dissolve. You feel like that you have been growing in barren ground, and that is one of the reasons why it's really hard for you to hold on to this fleeting beauty, to really living in the moment. But in this world, we are taught when we are born that we have to earn our way through our lives. And what that results in is that eventually they teach you to pluck your own petals, or they teach you to restrict yourself or your imagination or anything like that in order to keep you in control. So like they do it to you when you're young. They make you feel bad about yourself. They program you into what you should be doing. But at the end of the day, they've taught you how to pluck your own petals. They've taught you how to put yourself down. So not only are you anxious because you feel like you're not enjoying all the beauty of life that you are really passionate about, but part of the reason you're not doing that is because you're so anxious and you're plucking your own petals and you're just seeing the barrenness rather than being able to focus on the beauty. All you can see is what's wrong when there's so much right with you. There's so much right with you in your heart and your soul. We all have things to work on, but you don't deserve this. You deserve to be working and enjoying and indulging in the beautiful things of life, because that's what makes your heart sing. That's what brings you to life. And now we're going to cleanse the mirror. This card will help us understand how to distill these two things into gold. Harmony. Yes, this is definitely a shadow work spread. So harmony in this case is saying to harmonize between beauty and your shadow. Understanding that your shadow is not your enemy. It, in fact, is the key to being able to appreciate and love all parts of your life. So once you can identify that this is happening and you can stop plucking your own feathers and then petals or feathers, you can start balancing the things you don't like about yourself, which is your shadow, with the feeling of beauty. Maybe that shadow feels like you're undeserving of the beauty that you really want to enjoy and indulge in. And you absolutely do not need to earn going to that joyful place. You don't need to earn it. You don't need to martyr yourself. You don't need to self-destruct in order to deserve it. You just deserve it because you're alive. Ace of Cups. This came up in the last reading. So if you were interested in Doorway 1, you might want to check that out too. So what gold is going to come from all this, from this distillation? First of all, more emotional balance. You have the opportunity to let go of the programming that's keeping you in this loop of self-destruction, right? Oh, fleeting beauty. To me, it's sort of like, yes, you love beauty, but it's also being disappointed in how fast it's gone. So that this, with the harmony card, is saying, oh, there's an imbalance here that needs to be balanced. Enjoy the beauty, understand the difficult things, but don't self-punish over it, right? That doesn't help anybody. And if you're able to break that cycle, then you have a new opportunity to just open up and feel like I can be myself more emotionally, and I can really let go of what's holding me back. Yeah, look at that. You'll feel so empowered to just run forward and take charge when you get a glimpse of how much easier your life is without this self-deprecation. You'll actually be so eager to rush forward and continue the healing journey. Yeah, it feels really, really difficult to start, though. You've had to be very defensive your whole life. You wouldn't be in this situation if you hadn't had to be defensive a lot in your life. And I'm not saying you're a defensive person, but as in people attacking you or putting you down, or really, it can even be subtle manipulation, right? So when that happens, you kind of build up the defenses, and then you're like thinking, when you're a powerful person, alchemist, you start thinking, what did I do wrong? Instead of actually accepting that sometimes it's not you at all. Sometimes it's just something someone taught you a long time ago. Yeah. So in this context, this would definitely be telling you there's almost like a transformation here from this kind of defensiveness to this kind of defensiveness, right? This kind is like guarded, but wounded, but, kind of scared. This energy tells me more like I'm purposefully guarding what's mine. And what I see this is as boundaries. When you say you have a broken heart, you put up boundaries afterwards. Now, some people harden their heart, and that would be kind of this energy. But the healthiest thing to do is to keep your heart vulnerable and soft, but put a fortress around it that works as a filter. Not a fortress to keep you isolated, but a fortress to filter out the people that make you feel this way. You deserve to be treated with respect and dignity. You don't have to earn that. You're a human being. You just deserve it because you exist. Look at that. Yeah, once you can wipe this sort of program from yourself of self-deprecation, of doing things or saying things that work against you because it's how you were told things are supposed to be, once you can get that it's something that you have to wrestle in your mind with for a while. It sucks that we have these programs and we have to like unbrainwash ourselves, really. So, but once you're able to do that, you're going to start seeing the world through more childlike eyes. And I love this being against fleeting beauty, because these children, they don't think of beauty as fleeting. It's just something that exists, and it's something that's there, and it's something they can hold on to and touch. And then, the next beautiful thing is there. And they don't have to worry about being, overly existential about how long it's going to take or when it's going to end. Yeah. And at the end of the day, this is going to bring a new beginning, a new start. And it could be physical or something, but I just mean emotionally. The shift in attitude with this is going to really alchemize for you in a way where you can transmute these feelings into like a brighter, happier attitude and perception. But it's going to take some time. Finding the balance between these things, it takes time. And we have repetitive beginner's energy with the Fool and the Ace of Cups. So expect it to take a little bit of time, but just do a little bit at a time and it will work out. Just whenever you say a thought to yourself that's really negative, just counter it with, don't believe everything I think. That's not true. Okay? Well, thank you for joining me today. Your great work continues, Alchemist. May this guide you with grace and purpose. Please comment below if this helped you out. Welcome to your initiation, doorway number 3. In alchemy, we begin with the initiation, which is the mirror or the first spark of what is unfolding for you. Sharing your wisdom. You've been in sort of a state that has felt stagnant, but honestly, I don't think it has been stagnant. I think that it's been more like simmering below the surface. You've been doing some alchemical transmutation inside. And oftentimes that happens without us even knowing that that's what's going on. So what that's been doing is it's been alchemizing you into a space where you're about ready to start sharing the wisdom you've learned. And it doesn't necessarily mean anything like, oh, I'm full of spiritual wisdom I'm going to share, or, oh, I'm full of, for my specific job. Wisdom can just be what you've learned on your path that has helped you. And by sharing that with someone else, you can make their path a little easier. And it can be in passing, or it can be something where you help someone on a bigger scale. But the point is, sharing your wisdom is something that is going to start coming naturally to you. And I think that maybe you may have had imposter syndrome with your wisdom in the past. And so let's take a look at the shadow aspect. Oh, yeah. Cards don't lie. Imposter syndrome. Yeah. You feel like maybe it's not really you pulling the strings, and that you just like maybe were lucky, or maybe you learned a lot from other people, and so you really shouldn't take credit. But really, you're ready. You have been alchemizing. You have been, and in your shadow sits this thing that's holding you back, which is saying, oh, I'm not wise enough or smart enough or good enough or haven't learned enough. Yes, you have. Even people on the beginner road teach other people all the time. So wherever you are on your path, it's time for you to start sharing some of the wisdom that you've gained. So this card will help us understand how to clarify this mirror through the distillation process so we can turn this into gold for you. Goddess. Wow, what powerful energy you've got today, doorway 3. Look at this. Sharing your wisdom, letting go of the idea that you have to be a certain way in order to be wise, and goddess. And I love this because there are these 2 goddesses and the 2 cats, and they're just facing each other and holding hands, right? So when you're able to kind of recognize this as a false flag, you're not an imposter. You're living your experience just as you are. How can you be an imposter in that? And accept both sides of it. You'll feel the wisdom that's flowing through you is coming from a divine source, your divine source, whether that's your higher self or whatever deity you believe in. And so then you'll be able to say, hey, why would I shut down messages from the divine source for myself or for others? It's time to share your wisdom. And part of that is gaining the confidence in order to let yourself. That's the biggest struggle, right? Is being like, well, who am I to share wisdom? Just do it. The world, your message is for, there's 8 or 9 billion people on this planet. Your wisdom is just the right fit for some people. So put it out there and see what happens. King of Swords. Yeah, it's time for you to clarify in yourself, to cut through this. Clarify in yourself what it is that sharing your wisdom means to you. Let it happen naturally, but also you need to think about it ahead of time, because what are you doing to cut that off? Like, is there a moment when you would have shared wisdom, but this kind of kicked in and you're like, oh, well, they're not going to listen anyway, or it's not really important anyway, or, oh, what if I'm wrong anyway? Yeah, and this is going to lead to a lot more inner peace. But one of the things that I love about this is that by sharing your wisdom, you actually start building your own little community, a community, your heart family or your soul family, like the people who are going to be there for you because they see the inherent wisdom in, the way you talk and the way you move and the way you live your life. And that's going to attract people who are into authenticity. And that's the exact people you want to have. It's better to have quality over quantity, right? Yeah. Just keep moving away and moving forward from any idea in your shadow that is holding you back from feeling the full embodiment of your own wisdom. And one of the things that happens, I believe, when we're kids is that people kind of train us not to trust our intuition. And so then in later life, we confuse intuition with fear. So we're like, oh, I have a bad feeling about something, but it's hard to differentiate if it's a bad feeling because of its intuition or if it's a bad feeling because, you just have anxiety. And so that's why getting in touch with and working closely with your intuition will bring you to this space, because then you don't have to worry about if there's like a third party in the sense of like societal conditioning or conditioning from a certain person that's interfering with your intuition. Wow. These 2 cards came up in other piles. So if you want to look at the other doorways, feel free to. I feel like there was a cohesive arc in this one. Protect your energy. Protect your resources. And the reason I say this is because when you're seen as a wise person, people will come to you and they'll start draining you, right? So when you start sharing your wisdom openly, you need to make sure that you've got good boundaries during that process, because people will come, and there's so many broken-hearted people, sad people, lonely people, people desperate for answers who are going to come to you. And you need to make sure that that when you help people, you've had your own cup filled first, that you're always helping yourself first, because our goal is not to drain ourselves and help people at our own expense. It is to help people with the excess energy that we have flowing through us, right? And the more you practice that, the more energy you'll have. And your intuition will tell you when to stop and rest. Your intuition will tell you when to take a week off from helping other people, or your intuition will say your cup is getting too low, so you've got to stop, fill your own cup up for a while. And this is why I need to do this. All right. Yeah. So the lovers. So this is your choice. You have been given the opportunity to become sort of a a seer or a wise person that people can come to, especially for like spiritual matters or even practical matters. And you have a choice. Do you want to do this? Oops. Or do you want to kind of keep it all tied in and let your fears kind of control what you're doing? And as I was saying before, this is going to open up opportunities for relationships, whether you want a romantic relationship or you're just focusing on a familial relationship or even repairing a relationship you already have. This process will help with that. Yeah. Going back to what I said earlier, watch out for people who want to take. Don't let people deceive you into over giving your energy. Your energy is your most precious resource, and you deserve to hold on to it for yourself, and then let the universal energy that's flowing through you overflow into other people. When you're abundant, you have way more than you need. But if you've given all that you have, then your abundance is all drained away. How can you give to other people if you can't even fill yourself up? And then that doesn't help anybody. Yeah. A time of balance is coming. And you'll feel like when it clicks, it's just going to click. And you'll know, yep, when it clicks, it's just going to click. And you'll just be like, yeah, I got this. My intuition is sharp. I'm finding balance. I mean, look how it's even reflected in the cards here. Yeah. So you, my friend, are on the cusp of being a person. I mean, I think you're already a person people look up to and stuff, but you hold so much of your wisdom and knowledge deep inside because you're afraid of being judged or being wrong. But look, follow your intuition. The chances are you're actually right about so much more than you think you are. I mean, look at this. High Priestess, Chariot, and Lovers right here. Yeah. Well, my alchemist friends, your great work continues. May this guide you with grace and purpose. And please comment below if this helped you out. I'll see you next time.